I've been in theatre for almost 50 years, so I've acted in quite a number of plays. Basil Dawkins is an esteemed playwright in Jamaica.
Basil's style of writing is quite captivating. He has a way of taking serious issues and putting a slant on it to make you think when you come, but also to entertain you.
His plays sort of take on a modern form, a form I would compare kind of to Ibsen, which leaves the audience room for discussion.
He touches on social issues, and he's been bold and brave in his writing, because I don't think many people would go to the places I've seen him go.
My name is Basil Dawkins, and I'm a playwright operating out of Jamaica. I got into playwriting just by accident because, in fact, I was just passing the Creative Arts Center at the University of the West Indies where I was a student, and somebody called me in and said, come and stand up on stage because we needed a crowd section, and I was representing the crowd. And then at the end of the rehearsal, the director told me that the next scheduled rehearsal was whatever it was, and I was expected to be there. So I started out my career acting. When I graduated, it was difficult for me to continue the schedule of acting, given that my job required that I travel a lot. And the only way that I could practically stay in touch with theater, which I by then loved, was to start writing.
He started in 1980, I think it was. At the time, I used to work on JBC television as an announcer. And he saw me on the TV reading news, and he thought he would like to have me in his first production.
The first play I wrote was Flatmate back in 1978. I entered it in the literary competition then, and it won a bronze medal. Having won that bronze medal, there was an expectation that it would be produced, and I produced. After a long haul, it opened 1980 February, and it was a tremendous success. Essentially, everybody has a story. Everybody could write a play if they had the discipline.
Dad, you have a minute?
What is it, Abe? Another one of your money problems?
No, Dad. Precious is pregnant.
What? You had sex with her? And without protection?
Easy, suppose mom's inside the house.
Well, your mother's bound to hear sooner or later. What is this on me now, Lord?
Precious, that is your baby she expecting.
However, what informs me is the subject matter of interest to me, and more importantly, will it be of interest to anybody else? And if it will engage an audience, then I'll pursue it.
Basil's style of writing is plays with a message, with some element of comedy and drama.
So the characters start out deeply fractured. Even in their perfections, the human quality is evident. And so the audience has room to decide who they like, why they like them, what they don't like. So the roles of villain and hero are not so clearly defined.
One of the things about writing for the Caribbean people is that no matter how tragic, if you want the messages to stay with the people, you have to richly spice it with a lot of comedic moments.
Not over my dead mother banana walk. When Bob left, the nest then I come back.
People ask if I write comedies or I write dramas or I write tragedies. I tell them I write stories because I find that human stories don't choose. My process operates on a subconscious level where I'll get an idea and it can come from anywhere. I could just see somebody doing something, I maybe hear somebody saying something, and invariably when I get in front of that computer, it's almost written already.
The elements of a great play. First of all, the script would have to be top-notch, the directing, and of course, to bring all that to light, you need actors to really tap into the character and to bring it all to life.
I cast in a very conventional way, in that from I'm writing the story, The story is almost telling me who would be appropriate for the roles. Many, many actors have worked with me. There are some that are staples. For example, Ruth Hoshing.
I think I'm like his go-to, his go-to actress. He writes with me in mind, and then he approaches me and asks me if I will do it, and the answer is always yes, of course.
I think I'm successful because I stay in touch with the people. I try to come up with a story that I think speaks to specific concerns. There are a number of issues that it's not expressed in the open. For example, I will take issues like spousal abuse, or in like Mass Mat Comes to Town, caregiver abuse.
Oh, are you so wicked? I ever beat you yet? Tell me in front of Mass Mat if I ever beat you.
And fashion the story that the issues can come out. My typical year begins with the opening of a play on the 27th December, and we close out at the end of April in Kingston. Then we move on to international. The tour usually starts Mother's Day weekend in either Florida or Toronto. Then we do DC, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, Georgia, Texas, and LA. Then we will do Eastern Caribbean, England sometimes. I've won a number of awards. You know, the principal theatre awards in Jamaica is the International Theatre Institute Actor Boy Awards. I've won in categories like Best Production, Best Play, Best Script. I've been recognized in the United States. I have awards from different organizations who I've collaborated with. Essentially, my message to playwrights is that they should persist. You have little playwrights and plenty actors ready to do the work. I tell young playwrights to become good, they have to be aware of their environment and recognizing the dramatic moments that they see in their everyday lives. Don't be afraid to get into things that are controversial or things that are deeply emotional or things that people don't want to talk about, because if you find a way to talk about it in your place, you're going to be successful.